redstone in Minecraft can be a pretty scary thing to learn. But don't worry, today we're gonna keep it very simple. Because in this video, I'm gonna show you 10 super easy redstone builds that you can literally put together in just 1 minute, and they will make your life so much easier. Let's jump right into it. First of all, we need to talk about something that every good survival world needs, and that is of course a secret piston door. This right here is a very basic design. You can switch the lever and then it closes, open it up again the way you desire. If you want to build it, that's also very simple. We're just going to start out by placing down 2 sticky pistons facing in the same direction with 2 blocks in front of them. Then you want to make sure that next to this bottom sticky piston right here, there's also a block which you can then place a redstone on. This is going to make sure that when we pull the lever, both the bottom and the top piston get the energy. And then the rest is literally just the door frame. And bada bing bada boom, we have our door finished. Okay, this next build is probably the most important thing in this entire video, because so many farms that we can build all come down to this one thing. And that would of course be the redstone on-off clock. To build this, we have 2 basic designs. I'm gonna show you both of them, starting out with the simplest, and that would be the redstone repeater circuit. Start out by placing down a block with a redstone torch against it. Next to this redstone torch, we're now going to place down as many repeaters as we like. For this example, I'm just going to do 4, and then put them in a loop so that the signal goes back into the block. And you can make the whole thing faster or slower by manipulating the delay on those repeaters. As you can see right here, with a longer delay, we have a longer on and a longer off time. There's just one little problem, and that is that it's a little bit unelegant when it comes to changing the duration. You know, we have to interact with those repeaters all the time if we want to make any changes to the on-off duration. So, what I want to show you up next would be this design right here, which is the standard redstone hopper clock. This one is much more elegant because we can precisely manipulate how fast it is by placing down items into the hoppers. If we add more items, then it's going to be much slower, as you can also see right here. The way we build this is also pretty simple. We start out by placing 2 hoppers, and we gotta make sure that both of these hoppers are pointing into each other. If one of them goes into the ground or somewhere else, it does not work. Then you want to put down 2 comparators that are reading out the hoppers, and those will then be going into 2 blocks right here. Lastly, we also go for 2 redstones right here so that we can then use sticky pistons facing this way and 1 redstone block right here in the middle. The way you can now turn this into an on-off signal is pretty simple. Put down 1 redstone on one side, and then only when the block is next to the redstone line, only then will you have the on signal. You know, put down a lamp and we see the lamp goes on and off in the same intervals. And as always, if you could leave a quick like for the video, that would be very nice because it helps me big time with the YouTube algorithm. So thank you so much for your support. Now, these 2 builds, the repeater clock and the hopper clock, they're all nice and dandy, but they have one ginormous problem. And that is that the on signal is always exactly as long as the off signal. For a lot of farms, we kinda don't want that. Instead, we want to have something where, let's say, the signal is off for 10 seconds, and then it only goes on very briefly and then off for 10 seconds again. So I want to show you a third alternative, and that would be this one over here. This looks of course very simple, but it is quite effective, and that would be the boat clock. Now, the way we build this is incredibly simple. We start out by marking down an area on the ground, which is 6 by 7 blocks. 6, 7. Inside of this area, we're now going to place down pressure plates, exactly like I show right here, so that it looks like this from the top. We then put down water on this side and on that side right here. And then, if we want to, we can take the redstone signal either from this one right here out, or from this pressure plate on the other side. If we want to, we can also use both sides, but I don't think that's really the point here. And then, all we gotta do is place down a boat into here, and the water stream is then gonna make that boat go round. This way, we have a bit of a different version of these clocks right here, because now the on and off signal is not exactly the same duration. You only have a brief on signal when the boat is over this pressure plate, and then it goes off again. This is the easiest way to make this asynchronous on and off signal, but of course, there's also a more elegant way that is much better to control. First of all, we go back to our standard hopper clock. It works with the hopper clock, it also works with the repeater clock. I'm just gonna show you with this one right here. If we want to make it so that the on signal does not last for the entire time, then what we're going to do is we take the redstone line that comes out of the clock, and then we're going to split it into two. On the one side, we're going to place down a couple of repeaters, and then make a parallel redstone line like I show right here that leads into a comparator, which is going to have, a connection to those repeaters here. Let that comparator go into a block with a redstone torch on it. As you will see right now, the moment the signal comes in, the torch will briefly go off and then go on again once the second, slower signal comes back. See right here, now it's on again. Oh, and by the way, if you want to see more great Minecraft farms and tutorials, then you might want to think about maybe leaving the channel a sub, because I have so much more to share. Welcome to the crew. But alright, that was a whole lot about redstone clocks, but I hope it helped for all of your future farms to come. Let's next, though, talk about a completely different topic, but one that will make life for you so much more convenient. And that would be a bulk crafter that automatically produces tons and tons of items for you so that you don't have to do it by hand every time. At the base, of course, we have the auto crafter. You have 9 slots right here, and you can put items into those slots to make things out of it. To better control what type of item you will get out, you can click those slots right here to block them, so that in this case, for example, there are only 3 slots open, and as you saw right there, the moment I put it in, it will instantly turn that sugarcane into paper. And let me show you how the whole system works. First of all, we have the crafter with a hopper pointing into it and a chest. Into this chest, we're later going to put, the sugarcane that we want to be turned into paper. This comparator is going to read out the signal that comes from the crafter. With these 6 blocked slots right here, the crafter is now giving out a signal of 6. If we then fill it up completely with 3 more items, it will give out a signal of 9, which will then activate the circuit. Now, what we gotta do to make this whole thing work is have a second comparator, like this one right here, that points into our first comparator from the side. This one right here, we gotta make sure that it also has a total signal strength of 9, and the way that we do this in this example here is with a hopper. With a fill status of the hopper exactly like this whole thing will have a signal strength of 9, so that whenever the signal strength coming out of this right here is 9, when the crafter is full, it will equal this one right here, which will then activate this signal in the middle. That will then go into this one redstone block that activates the repeater, which in turn powers up the crafter to make us one exact item. And now all we gotta do is place down a whole bunch of sugarcane into our chest up here. That will then go into the crafter, and as you see there, whenever the crafter is full, we get the signal strength of 9 coming out of the crafter, which will then create a signal in this comparator right here, activating the crafter, which was then, gonna spit out the item that we crafted. Okay, this next one is something that some of you actually pointed out under my old enchanting guide, and that will be a little redstone mechanism to shuffle the enchantments that we have on offer on our enchanting table. This right here is what I'm talking about. We have our enchanting table in the middle, and then whenever we put an item on it, these are the enchantments on offer. At this point right here, we might not really like what we have, so we can shuffle them around by doing this. Which makes it that when we put the item on now, we don't have 30 levels right here anymore, it only sees 24 because there are less bookshelves available, which might or might not change the available enchantments. So here's how you build the whole thing. First of all, we start with our standard enchanting setup, and then at the bottom, we're gonna put down pistons that are facing up like this. On top of the pistons, we're gonna place sand. When it comes to how to activate the mechanism, that's actually also pretty darn simple. First of all, we dig down a bit again, and then we make space behind the sand like this. On top of this, we're now going to place down 3 redstones to make a little redstone line that we will then conveniently lead out like this into a lever. Do the same thing on the other side, and then the sand will go up, down, up, down. Okay, now, this next build is probably the simplest thing on today's entire list, and this right here is the simplest auto smelter in the game. We have a chest down here into which the smelted items are gonna go. Then 2 hoppers, both facing into the chest, very important, not just down, into the chest. 2 furnaces on top, which are gonna do the smelting, and then each furnace has 2 hoppers pointing into it, one from the back and one from the top. In the top one, we put in whichever items we want to be smelted, for example, raw iron right here, if we want to make that into iron ingots, and the back one right here is for the fuel. And by the way, we can of course scale the whole thing up to make it much bigger and more efficient, and if you want to see how to do that, then I already have a video on an automatic super smelter. I'm going to put you the link in the card so you can check it out later. The next redstone build I want to talk about is one of the all-time classics, but something that really every player should understand to make their life much easier, and that would be the redstone sorting system. The way this works is, we have one chest up here into which we put the items that we want to have sorted, and then because there are a line of hoppers below it, they're going to take the items out of this chest and they want to transport them all the way over to this leftover chest right here. However, because we have hoppers under one of these hoppers here, whenever there's an item passing through that this hopper right here can pick up, this hopper is instantly going to pull that out of the top hopper and, push it all the way down into the chest. The way this whole sorting now works is that the first hopper, the one that is right under the top line, this is our filter, so to speak. When we open it up, then what we see right here is this. The hopper has 5 item slots. We need to fill these right here with items that we will never ever throw into the sorter at all. We only leave this one right here free, and in this slot, we put the item that we actually want to have sorted out, and we have to put exactly 41 of that item into here. If we have 45 items, that will be a signal strength of 2 if we read out the hopper with a comparator. As you can also see right here, the comparator is on and we have a 1, 2 signal strength. With this one down here, that is off. But once we add a 46th item into here, that will then increase the signal strength to 3, which means this signal will go all the way down to here, which then activates this comparator. That will then turn off this redstone torch right here. And that is very important because as long as this redstone torch is on, these hoppers right here are blocked because it is locked by the active redstone signal coming from the torch. So what that means is we put all the items into the top chest, they will go down till here, but when there is sugarcane coming through here, then this hopper can actually pick it up because it already has sugarcane in it. And then once there is additional sugarcane coming into here, it will increase the signal strength to 3, which will deactivate the redstone torch, open up the hoppers, and allow it to let all the sugarcane run through into the bottom chest. Now, we all know that if you want to transport items into a chest down below, you just use a couple of hoppers and that's it. But did you know that you can also make a similarly simple construction that will actually elevate items from a lower point all the way up into a higher chest? Well, let me show you how to make a super easy item elevator. What we have right here is one tower of droppers. The only important point that you need to remember with this is that it needs to be an even number of droppers. So what I have here is 6, you could do 8, 10, whatever you want, but not like 5 or 7. Then we have one hopper at the bottom pointing into the bottom dropper with a chest into which we place whichever items we want to transport up. And then on the right side right here, we have a sort of redstone stair where, we use blocks and redstone torches, just like this, so that we have a redstone signal that can move upwards alongside the droppers. All we then need to do is use an on-off signal, like this one right here. This is the standard redstone repeater clock that I showed at the beginning of the video. And once we then connect that to this redstone stair, you can see that the redstone signals are going to go on and off, activating and deactivating these droppers, which will then effectively lead them to always drop the item one block higher. As you can see right here, the iron is now slowly moving up. And that's really all there is to it. But okay, We just talked about how you can move items up and down, so let's also go over how to most efficiently transport them via rail. Let's talk about a minecart loader as well as unloader. Let's first of all go over the loader, how to load the minecart with items. And the way we do this is very darn simple. We have a chest into a hopper, which, is gonna load the minecart. Then next to the hopper, we have a comparator, which is gonna read the fill status of the hopper into a block onto which we position a redstone torch. Under the torch, put a redstone so you can get the signal from up here to down there into a comparator, which is then going to redirect the signal into this block, which is going to power this rail. As long as the hopper is empty, this one right here will be on. But as soon as there is an item in the hopper, as you can also see right here, the comparator is going to read that there is a fill status, it's going to switch off the entire rest of the system, and the rail is not powered anymore. And with the rail not being powered, that means the minecart will not be instantly sent back. And once everything is empty, the signal goes back on and sends the minecart off to the other side. And speaking about the other side, this right here is the unloader. Let's go over how this one works too. First off, we have one chest into which the items are going to be placed. And then next to it, a hopper that is pointing into the chest. On top of this hopper, you're going to put a powered rail into a block into a redstone torch, but very important, not against the block, just on the floor next to it. On top of it, you put a normal redstone into a normal block, and under that redstone, another comparator. What this now does is, also this comparator is going to read the fill status of the hopper, and as long as it's empty, it's not going to read anything. This torch will be on, powering the rail, so the minecart will be sent back if this hopper is empty. However, when the minecart that arrives has items in it, then those items will be filled into the hopper to go into the chest, which then creates a signal here, switches off the torch, switches off the rail, so the rail will be off until the minecart is fully emptied out. Once that happens, should happen any second now, the signal will be gone, the rail switches back on, and the minecart is on its merry way. Okay. One of the most important things in every Minecraft survival world is, of course, food. However, farming crops the normal way, that can be pretty slow. So here's how you make the smallest and also most efficient crop farm in the game. First of all, place down one bucket of water into a little hole. Then turn one block of dirt into farmland and place 3 dispensers all in a way that their front is pointing right towards this farmland block. On top of the middle dispenser, you now want to put an observer with the face pointing down and the redstone end up. Next, close up one side of this farm with normal building blocks like I do right here, and on the other side, you want to place down one redstone on the floor like this, and also place down a lever on the dispenser on this side, before closing the top with normal building blocks too. Next, we want to place down a line of redstone on top of every block of this farm. On the top in the middle, place a piston facing out like this. Lastly, put a staircase in front of the farm like I show right here, and now you can flick the lever to turn the farm on. If you did everything right, then the piston should now rapidly go in and out like this. All you then need to do is fill all the dispensers with as much bone meal as possible, go onto the side right here, and hold right-click on the farmland with any type of crop that you want to grow. It will now rapidly grow all the crops that you're planting. Now, last but definitely not least, we need to talk about an absolutely genius design of a teleporter. This one, I think, was invented by a YouTuber called B-Run, and it is really cool because it's a teleporter that allows you to teleport yourself back to your home base from wherever you are in the world at a moment's notice. Let me show you how it works. This right here is all we need. We have a daylight sensor going into a repeater on the one side and into a comparator on the other side. The repeater is at the maximum of 3-tick delay. Then we have a block with a redstone torch, and this redstone torch should be on so that this iron trapdoor here will remain open. By the way, if you want to build the trapdoor like this, you have to make a temporary block, then flip it open with the redstone torch, and then you can delete the block again. That's how you build it. The main important part here is this hole right here. You gotta dig a 1x1 hole that is somewhat deep, and then at the bottom, you need to put a soul sand so that when you fill it up with water, the bubbles will come all the way to the top. Now, how does this entire thing teleport you? Well, that has to do with ender pearls. As we all know, if you throw an ender pearl, it will teleport you to wherever it landed. You can throw it again, now we teleport it here. And the genius part about this contraption is that if you throw an ender pearl into the water like this, then through the bubbles, it will be pushed back up and then it will just float there. It will never make contact to the ground. The way this works now is, because everything is hooked up to this daylight sensor, it will make it that a rapid shift in daylight will switch off this torch, which will close the iron trapdoor, and in that moment, this ender pearl right here will make contact, fire, and teleport you back to this position from wherever you were. Now, you might think, that's all nice and well, but it means as soon as night comes and the daylight sensor goes off, I'm gonna go back home. What if I want to stay longer? Well, that is actually the genius part here. Because if we set the time to night, like I do right here, then you will see that nothing happens. The reason for that is that the shift from day to night is gradual and not immediate. And that means the signal from the daylight sensor will not instantly go from fully on to fully off, but it will have a bit of a grace period. And because we build in a little bit of a delay with this comparator right here, this makes it that this grace period will not actually lead to this trapdoor closing, like the entire thing will be on throughout the entire night. The only time when it will really activate is, and I'm going to show you right here, I build a bed here, when it is already full night and we go to bed while it is full night, then the moment we get out of bed and it turns to day, that is where the shift from night light to daylight is going to be so rapid, as you see right there. That is the moment where the shift in light from night to day is going to be so rapid that this daylight sensor will go from fully off to fully on in an instant, and that is then going to be strong enough of a signal to close the door and teleport you back. Now, you might think now, I don't like to be out at night, right? I want to be able to sleep, and the good thing is, you can do that too. With the delay coming from the comparator right here, if you lay down to sleep, the moment it turns night, like the moment you can actually sleep, that will also make it that this will not fire. I can show you, place down another bed, turn it to night again, and if we instantly sleep, then there's enough sunlight left the moment we get into the bed that it's actually not considered fully night. And as you can see right here, the shift from night light to daylight was not rapid enough so that this entire thing fires. That's really genius, but again, not my personal idea here. And now make sure that you also don't miss these 10 super easy to build 1-minute farms right here. See you next time, and until then, craft well.